We're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Self-Publishing Insiders. I feel like it's been a long time since we've all been together, but it's only been a week. But today I'm excited because it's an Ask Us Anything. Ask Us Anythings are pretty fun usually, but they're also kind of scary because we never know what's going to be thrown at us. So we've got to be on top of our game. And so to be on top of our game, I've enlisted some star power here. So I've got Tara from customer support, the smartest person in the room whenever we're all in a room, always.
Thank you.
And we've got Nick Thacker from bookcovers.com is here to join us as well. Nick, welcome.
Welcome. Glad to have you back, dude. I've had to try to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders for a couple weeks in a row there without you around.
Oh,
and
man. Well,
I'm
thank you for
surprised
doing
that they
that.
still allow us to have this podcast after those 2 weeks.
Yeah. 2 weeks away from Draft2Digital feels like about 3 months. It's freaky. It's just like, wow. I feel like it's been a really long time. So, thank you for covering for me while I was gone. I really appreciate it.
Hopefully you haven't lost your edge in your time off. Hopefully you've been practicing in the off season.
What edge is that we're talking about? If we're talking about rusty edges, maybe. So I thought we would kind of kick this off by, I'll break the ice, and I want to invite our audience out there that, like, seriously, if you guys have any questions about Draft2Digital, ebook publishing, print on demand publishing, book covers, the Smashword store, promotions, any of it, we will do our best to answer you. I thought I would break the ice, though, and talk about the latest Smashwords sale. So the Smashwords just completed its July summer winter sales event. So this is the sale that the Smashwords store has been doing, going all the way back to, I believe it was 2009 or 2010. Now, I want to bring it up out there because there are still a lot of Draft2Digital authors, maybe not a lot, but there are still some Draft2Digital authors who haven't yet distributed their books into the Smashwords store. So I want to encourage you to do that because the Smashwords store keeps not only beating expectations, but it's beating like our own expectations. It keeps surprising us on how quickly it's growing. The store is on track to complete its 9th consecutive year of sales growth.
Wow.
Yeah, that's worth mentioning because overall industry-wide, when it comes to ebook sales, the ebook sales year over year across the industry are relatively kind of flat. They're kind of like this. So the fact that we've been able to grow year over year for 9 consecutive years is huge. It's exciting. But check this out. So with the month-long sale over the course of July, we not only beat the previous year's sales, but sales grew in the July summer winter sale by 35% year over year. That's
wow. That's incredible.
But the part that's gotten me even more excited than that is this. First-time buyers, so people who come to the Smashword store for the very first time and made their very first purchase at the Smashword store, this sale attracted 60% more first-time buyers than last year's sales. And of those new buyers, they spent 3 times as much than first-time buyers in last year's sale as well. So these aren't just first-time visitors. These are people who actually are coming to the website and they're making purchases for their first time. So
that's amazing.
It's amazing. I'm so excited about it, but it also tells us that something pretty interesting is happening out there in the indie community. Now, granted, we've added a lot of authors to the Smashword store and to Draft2Digital who are distributing their books into the Smashword store. Of course, those authors are placing their books in the Smashword store. But I think what's happening is out there, like when you go to the Smashword store today, just the quality of the homepage, all those book covers on the homepage, it's like, whoa, I feel like we're all grown up now.
Jim, it feels to me like, so I'm an author, right? And I've been an author for over 15 years. And so kind of right about when Kindle launched, when Amazon launched the Kindle program and of course KDP, Draft2Digital and Smashwords were around then. And so I sort of remember the beginning being like indie, we used to call it self-publishing. And that was like almost a taboo word, was like trying to latch on to traditional or now what's called old school publishing, right? Or the old way of doing things. which isn't a bad way of doing things. It's just a different way of doing things.
Yeah.
The point is, I feel like indie was always trying to be like, hey, also us, look at us too. And so we were trying to sell our books in the places the traditional publishing world had built and existed in and operated in. And now it's like Smashwords as a store has always been an independent bookstore. And so now it's like we have our own space. We have our own bookstores. We have our own industry, basically. And that doesn't mean we preclude, trad authors from hanging out with us at the Cool Kids. It's just we're building our own thing. And Smashwords store it seems to be indicative of that. And that trend of readers also wanting independent and readers also wanting, their own version of the book industry. And it's not just authors trying to say, hey, look, I can write a book and sell it. It's readers going, no, I like independent all the way up, all the way to the store selling me the book. That's probably a roundabout way of saying it. You guys can probably make that sound a lot more eloquent, but that's what it feels like to me, looking at it from an insider as well.
And it's worth noting that authors are making more money at the Smashwords store than any other, Amazon, Apple, Kobo. You make more money per sale because you're receiving more in royalties back. So it's also worth noting, not only are the sales up, not only are first-time buyers up, but you're making more money per sale when you sell at the Smashwords store.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge.
And I think you both nailed it. Nick, your comment about what's happening in the indie community out there, the whole traditional way of publicizing books and marketing, especially new books, is changing out there. And, the influencers, the book talks and bookstagrams of the world are really keying in on emerging trends. And what's making those trends emerge, it's not the publishers, it's not the editors, it's not the publishing houses, it's the authors and the readers. It's not like publishers say, hey, let's create this new trend around romantasy. We're gonna call it romantasy and we're gonna market the heck out of it. No, it's the authors writing what they love, and it's the readers, those voracious readers, losing their minds and telling all of their friends out there and having these things really, really take off. And I think what's happening now is that a lot of the readers out there, the indie readers, as Nick was describing, they're looking for the diamond in the rough, because what's exciting to them is finding that next breakout author and being part of that excitement of helping them just break out and become bestsellers, to the world. That's understandable.
And that's why everyone should read Nick Thacker books, because I'm the best author you've never heard of. No, I'm just kidding.
I've been a reader my whole life, and what I notice about our indie author group is they are so open and welcoming to their fans. They're online. They're talking to us, their fans. They're communicating. They do like giveaways, and they do lots of different things where, hey, name the next character. You feel like you're actually a part of it, and you feel like you're helping to build something. Whereas, those old traditional writers, they're great too, but I've never had anyone respond to me on Facebook that, is a New York Times bestseller trade writer. But I get responses from my indie writers that I am fans of and part of their fan club all the time. And I think that kind of connects the readers more to the storyline. They're more invested. They cannot wait for the next book to come out. But I think it's also a part is just marketing, how you market and how you work with your fan base, how you include them. I think that really builds up a different type of clientele.
Absolutely. I remember one time oh, sorry, Jim. I remember one time I did a contest or competition, I don't know what to call it, but basically on my email list, I'm talking fiction, right? Not my Draft2Digital stuff. And I said, listen, you get to tell me any name and I'll write it into the book, but I get to kill you however I want.
That's awesome.
And I didn't say in the fine print, I didn't say just in the book. So
Nick's not a children's author, by the way. He writes thrillers. Just want to make sure that's noting.
Caveat into our I write thrillers, right? And people do die in my books. And so, but I always joke with my readership that I forgot to ask my lawyer how to do it. And so the fine print does not say only in the book. Yes. So I legally get to kill you in real life, however I want. Apparently,
you agreed.
going to get a
We
knock
agree
on the
to
door at 4 a.m. Nick. Better watch out.
Right. So be careful if you email me.
Tara, I was going to ask you, how does it make you feel when one of those authors responds to you?
You have no idea. It's like a celebrity sighting. It's for me, I read these books and I read our books that are being published. I buy them. The best ones, I got them on my shelf. I have to have a physical copy because I need to be near them. So to get a response on Facebook, on Twitter, on any of those, it's exciting to me as a reader and as a fan. It's like a celebrity sighting. I don't know if Nick thinks of himself as a celebrity, but
I definitely do. I'm probably the most famous person I know. No, absolutely not. No, we're all just normal people. That's the best part,
But for the readers and the fans, it really does feel like you are communicating with a celebrity.
And I get that.
I know I'm talking to Nick, but I could be talking to Gary Busey right now.
Well, I mean, there you go. Actually, my dad looks a lot like Gary Busey. It's kind of funny. Yeah, I do feel it's kind of funny because I'll reach out to one of my friends who I literally know in person that happens to write in the same genre as me, and it feels to me like I'm talking.
Yes,
to him,
yeah.
Like, that's just Kevin, or that's just James.
It's very exciting.
Yeah,
yeah. It's a superpower for you guys, for indie authors, being able to connect with their readers like that. That's like the holy grail of the industry, really, just having that close connection relationship with your readers, your fans.
Yeah. I don't want to take too long and harp on it, but I do want to say this because it's kind of a good segue. A lot of the questions that I get at conferences are always around marketing. How do I market my book? They want to make more money with their book. And that's a fair question. The reason it keeps getting asked is there's no one simple silver bullet answer. So I decided to create a one simple silver bullet answer. And that answer is, authors, if you want to sell more books, you have to do things that don't scale. And what Jim just said is exactly what I did. From day one, I decided I was going to respond to every single email that I got from every reader ever, no matter what. I probably get 300 emails a week now from readers. And now, to be fair, these aren't long responses, but I would try to respond to every single one of them. If it comes into my inbox, they get a response. Because I decided a long time ago that in order to scale up, I have to do things that don't scale. So it's a lot, but that's kind of my marketing answer for authors is do the things that sound like you can't scale them up. And that's going to be because what you're doing is you're literally building a relationship with human beings that want to know who you are behind the author, behind the mask. Right. And if you can maintain that, if you can do that, even when it feels like you can't scale it up, suddenly you'll look down and say, wow, I'm actually doing pretty well at this thing.
Mm-hmm. That's great advice. And it's cost effective. It's going to cost you some time, obviously, where you're not writing. But I think those close relationships with your fans, it's priceless. And just based on your sincerity, Tara, and I can almost feel like you're moving from just being a reader to becoming a fan and even a super fan. Like, do you want to talk about those authors?
Oh yeah, share. Oh yeah, definitely. And it's the kind of thing that you read the book and then you're thinking in your mind, who else can I send this book to?
Mm-hmm.
I need to get a copy for my mom. I need to get a copy for my aunt, my brother, and I love the book so much that I've got to share it. So that's I suppose that's what a super fan is, but that definitely that's how it affects me. I get very excited.
Nice. Yeah, the super fans are the evangelists out there. They're like your personal marketing teams. I'm going to do my best to kind of tap dance between, providing our viewers with some updates on what we're doing in the company, but also answering their questions. And since this is an Ask Us Anything, I want to make sure I get to that early because I'm known to kind of get to it too late and then we're out of time. So I'm going to circle back up here. I believe the first question is from, I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Live broadcast. You got to love how polished this all is. Okay, I'm going to bring on this one up here. From Rolian Nell, and apologies if I mispronounce your name, Rolian. But Rolian says, hi, what are you doing for teen authors who do not have tax info or etc.? Can you take that one, Tara?
Yep, that is a great question. If you check our terms of service, we do ask that anyone using our site is over 18. Now, that doesn't exclude you. what you would do is you would work with a trusted adult, a parent, a guardian, someone to help set up that account. And it is a super simple thing to transfer over to you once you turn 18, once you have tax ID number, whatever. We're just making sure we're being doing our due diligence and we know who we're working with. We don't want any parent out there to have, a problem with us working with their teenager. So we do ask for adults, but your adult, your parent, your guardian can set up the account for you. And once you turn 18, we'll get that in your name. You don't have to delist your books, nothing. It's super simple to do. So that's what I would recommend.
Great question. I'm glad that was asked. That's something I don't typically think about. Next question from Lita. Hi, Lita. Lita says, I tried to upload my print book. For the book cover, it says front cover artwork only, not full print wraparound. Does that mean I need to have a separate front cover and back cover?
That's another great question, Lita. Don't let that confuse you. Where it says front cover only, we're looking for the marketing front cover. So if you go to Amazon, you go to Apple, Kobo, Barnes & Noble, and you look at a paperback book, you are looking at a little thumbnail image of the front cover. That's where you're uploading that thumbnail image of the front cover. A few steps further past where you are at right now, you will be asked to upload your full wraparound jacket cover. And what we're looking at there is one file with the front cover on the right, spine in the middle, back cover on the left. So it's a full complete cover. If you don't have anything but your front marketing piece, go ahead and upload that on the cover image file, and we'll show you an option that it looks professional, it looks wonderful. We can build it out to give you the spine and the back cover. So either way works, but where you're at right now, we're actually looking for that front cover image only, the marketing thumbnail image.
Perfect.
Can I jump onto that real quick, Tara? So one of the things,
ask you, Nick, if you don't have
sure.
a front cover, you should do.
No, that's great. I'm literally doing all this right now because, as Tara knows, I'm doing all my translated titles and uploading them ebook and print. And this usually happens at night when I'm sitting on the couch and watching a show. And so she keeps emailing me like, "Hey, you did this wrong. You did this wrong. You did this wrong. You did this wrong." I'm like, "I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. I didn't read it." Anyway, so I'm intimately familiar with the process as well. What I wanted to add, though, and this might be helpful for anyone who's looking at doing a print book in the future, is we'll talk about this a little bit more later, but bookcovers.com, which is sort of my purview at Draft2Digital, we just purchased that company and relaunched it, has an option for, it's not free, but we have an option for a very professional high-res print, full wrap, what we call it, a
Yes.
back cover and a spine,
Yes.
that I will design. Right now, it's literally me designing these things to perfectly match the artwork on your front cover. So we will actually use background textures that match your front cover background texture. The option that's free with Draft2Digital is great. It looks awesome, but it is a simple, just here's the background, is just, I think, like a gradient, solid color a lot of times, and then the text on it. With this one, I think it's $149, and I'm literally going to design it for you, use the same fonts, and make it look. So if you just want that extra little step, if you just want a little bit higher, quality as far in terms of design, check that out. I can put a link in there somewhere too, but it's at bookcovers.com, and you don't have to have a bookcovers.com book cover. So you can have a cover that you've already had designed and send that to me. Pay for a back cover, a full wrap, and then I will get that to you. It's probably less than a week turnaround time right now.
And for those that aren't aware, we include the link to bookcovers.com on your covers page. So if you're struggling to figure out, or you don't like what you have, you would like to see something new, we actually include the link to Nick's site right there. So it's easy to find. You won't miss it. It's on the covers page.
Yeah, thank you.
I love these Ask Us Anything episodes because I learned so much from my own teammates that I don't get a chance to ask during normal work hours. Quick follow-up question from Lita. Lita asks, will my print and ebook be distributed to Amazon even if I don't have an Amazon account?
Okay, that's a common point of confusion. you aren't setting up direct accounts with Amazon, Apple, Barnes. We have the account. We've got everything set up. So yes, the answer is yes. You, however, do select which vendors you would like your books to go to. For print, it's all in. We send to all of our print vendors. But for ebooks, you can pick and choose. And what we do is we have the account set up at Apple, at Barnes & Noble, at Kobo, at Scribd, at Overdrive, all of the different vendors. You don't have to go and make an account on each of those websites. That would be so time consuming. That's part of our appeal is we've done all of this for you. You simply use our site, select the vendors you'd like your book to go to, and we'll get it out there wide to everyone, every player in the market, just about, Amazon included.
Yeah, thanks for that, Tara.
Do you actually recommend to authors to go to use Draft2Digital for Amazon, Tara?
That's a really good question.
Hard to put you on the spot with that.
For ebooks, I love the ebook side. We have no issue with the ebook side. For paperback, the only pause I have is that I often see KDP Print give preference to KDP Print listings.
Yeah.
So not always. I think the last number that was shown to me was 97% of our print books are up and live and actively for sale at Amazon. So it's only a small percentage, but I've had other authors say, well, Amazon prefers KDP printed books. They don't mind other vendors. They don't mind Ingram books. They don't mind Draft2Digital books, but they do give preferential treatment to their own authors. So, that's the only kind of pause I have with ebook. There's no difference. They don't do anything different with our books than if you were to go direct. So yes, you can simplify your life by using Draft2Digital and just getting your book out there. And then if you have to make an update, a change, anything, it's one and done. We're going to fix it everywhere. Versus you having to go into all these various accounts and make updates. And remember, which one did you fix? Which one do you still need to fix?
Not to mention
how long does it take for those updates to proliferate to all of our different platforms? Tara?
Very, very fast. Smashwords, which we are Smashwords. You're going to see your updates within a matter of hours. The main vendors, 24 to 48 hours. Little bit slower is our library services. Remember, they're a totally different market. It can take up to 2 weeks to get through to the library services, but you're not going to notice because unless you go to a library system where your book exists and you go to check it out, you would never even know. But it does take it's a little bit slower on the libraries. Everyone else, 24 to 48 hours at most.
And that's internationally as well.
Internationally, absolutely. Our books are international, and we have authors all over the world using us everywhere.
Okay, thank you for that. Let's see, next question. Just moving down the list here. Keep those questions coming, you guys. I love this. DR asks, hi, when will the large print editions be available? Also, will D2D Print look into doing special edition books in the future with sprayed edges? Well, that would be pretty sweet.
That would be pretty sweet. We get that question quite a bit. So I think authors really do like those sprayed edges. I didn't realize that was
that's a hot trend right now. And those artisan books they're taking off.
Now, you're in luck. We just had a meeting yesterday and large print came up. We're hoping to have that out by the end of this year. It is currently in beta testing. We are getting close. The good thing about it is it doesn't take anything new. It's just another addition. So we're hoping to have it by the end of the year. The sprayed edges, though, not sure that we'll be offering that. It's a cost benefit sort of situation. Those do increase the cost of the books by quite a bit. And for a lot of your first time authors, that are just trying to, make ends meet, they don't want to price their book out of the market. Now, I could totally see offering something like that for your super fans. And maybe that's where we need to look at that option, is like just for those who, want very, very small printings. But again, we've looked into it. It's a pretty big cost difference. I'm not sure that that's coming soon, but you're not the first person to ask for that. So I know Draft2Digital tries really hard to make it happen for our authors. I won't say never, but maybe.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Yeah. And as the marketing guy, I'm always cautious about, well, we're not really sure. So I think that was a perfect answer, Tara, because what we've learned over the years is that, sometimes little issues come up that we didn't anticipate. So we're like, oh, we shouldn't have promised it for this date.
Yes, that's for sure.
just saying. Okay, let's see. Going through the list. Oh, here's another good question. This is another question that we tend to get quite a bit, I would bet. Ingrid asks, what about adding other stores like Google Play Books to your list?
I don't know. You probably know, Jim, what all we're allowed to share, but we do know that we've got something big coming very soon. We are constantly looking at new stores. Now, let me just kind of outline the issue we've had with Google Play. They are allowed to update your list price at their own discretion. So, and what they're doing, they're not doing anything wrong. What they're doing is they're trying to find the sweet spot where they think this book is going to sell best. But what happens is they go in and without telling you, without warning you, they update your list price. You then notice that Amazon has price matched to a different price, and you're suddenly, you may even be running a promotion on this book right now, and suddenly you're kicked out of the promotion because your price has been adjusted. That has always caused us to pause on Google Play Books. We would love to work with them. We have worked with them in the past. We just really need them to commit to not updating the list price without the author's approval. Once we can get past that, we are all on board. But until then, we're trying to be cautious and do what's best for our authors. However, more bookstores are coming soon. We have a team in place that works with the various vendors. We get requests from vendors constantly.
All the time.
Yes, every day of the week, I'm getting an email saying, hey, we'd love to work with you. So new vendors coming soon, definitely.
Yep. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Okay. Next question. This one was already answered, I believe. Oh, this is a good one. From Barbara. Hi, Barbara. Barbara asks, for adding new books to D2D today, what is the best format to use?
That depends on you, Barbara. That depends on what you're comfortable with, and that depends on what your final product should look like. For most of our authors, the majority of our authors are fiction writers, and they don't have a ton of experience in formatting. So they upload a Word doc, which they are very comfortable using, and our free conversion tools creates a beautiful ebook for them. Perfect. You can even go in and set some different designs, chapter headings, scene breaks, some flourishes to kind of make your book look a little more unique, all with a Word document. But you also have some of our power users who have a very specific look in mind. I get this a lot with like nonfiction, with textbooks, where images are, being described as part of the text, and we really need everything to stay together and tight. If that is what you are producing, if you have a very specific look in mind, then you would want to upload an EPUB file format. You upload an EPUB, we're not going to make any changes to the file, and it's going to look exactly the way you created it, or a Word doc, and use our conversion tools and create something that looks wonderful to you. So it kind of depends on what your end look is and your skill level, but we can take either.
Perfect. Thanks, Tara. I think we already answered this next question, but I'm going to bring it up just in case. Okay. From Nautilus Helianthus. I probably butchered that name as well. Who asks, what is the turnaround time for ebook sites to load new books or pre-orders onto their site, and also for print? How long is the process from the time the author says to publish? So maybe we tackle ebooks first.
It's a very quick process. You want to remember that with a pre-order, it's not going to show up on every website immediately, because not every website takes and displays a pre-order, but your main ones do. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Apple, your main ones will list it as a pre-order, and it will say those words, pre-order. Buyers can pre-order the book, but they will not receive the file until your release date. 24 to 48 hours after you hit the publish button, your pre-order or your ebook is out there and available on those store sites. For print, it's usually 3 to 5 business days, thereabout. It's a little bit slower because we do open and review and kind of comb through and make sure your formatting is solid, your page numbers are in there, your table of contents is correct. We're doing some quick checks to make sure you have created a professional book. And the reason we do that is ebook changes are always free. So at any point in time, if you need to make a correction, go for it. Print books, once our print vendor actually receives that file, we get charged every time we have to replace that file. So we're doing what we can to save you money. We don't want something to go out there and you go, oh crud, I can't believe I didn't notice that. Maybe we'll notice as we flip through. And so we'll let you know, hey, was this on purpose? Or hey, this could be a problem. Or hey, your table of contents, the page numbers don't actually match what's in the book. Let's get this corrected. That way it can still be corrected for free, but it does kind of slow it down a little bit. 3 to 5 business days is pretty accurate for print, 24 to 48 hours for ebooks, even your pre-orders. But again, not every site is going to list it as a pre-order.
Excellent, Tara. I'm so glad that you joined, because you have such a way of describing how this all works point by point by point. I also want to make sure that if there are any new authors out there who maybe they're assuming that when it comes to print books that we're distributing their books, they're like an actual physical copy of their book and it's going to land on the store shelves at Barnes & Noble and, Kobo and just, other brick and mortar bookstores out there. And we're not distributing the physical book. What we're doing is distributing the print on demand files so that when a customer goes into one of these stores, whether it's a Barnes & Noble or in an independent bookstore in your hometown, they could go up to the counter and say, hey, I would like to order this book. And then the person behind the counter can order the book for them. Does that make sense?
Exactly right. That's a really good point to make, because that does that is kind of confusing.
Yeah, it could be. Let's see. I want to make sure I get to other questions. Oh my gosh, there's more. Okay. Nick, so I want to give you an opportunity to talk about any updates to bookcovers.com before we get too far.
Yeah, I mean, no, thanks. I don't think there's a whole lot I need to say because there are so many good questions I do want to get to for sure. And I want to make sure we're answering the questions people are asking. But shameless sales plug. Thanks, Jim. I'll get you $20 after the call. Bookcovers.com is a thing and it is live and it's working. It's great. It's not perfect. I'm working very, very hard to make it perfect. But we just launched it in May. I did do one of these live Draft2Digital SPI live things on book covers earlier this summer. That's why I don't want to spend too much time talking about it now. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go to bookcovers.com and you will be, well, hopefully amazed. We've got 140,000 plus pre-made book covers that you can actually customize. You put the text on using our drag and drop tool and then purchase, and you own it. It's unique. No one else will ever own that cover, that design. What's really cool though is it's also a marketplace. So artists are uploading these covers. They're designing covers, they're uploading covers, and they're selling covers. They're making money from authors buying covers. So Really, really excited about this. There are so many things that I'm working on right now that I don't want to get into because it'll take forever. But just go to bookcovers.com and check it out. I mentioned earlier, like we also will do the full wrap print cover. We'll do an audio book cover. If you see a cover that's almost perfect, but the gal's hair is red, you need it to be blonde, we can do modifications of a cover. That's true for all of the covers you'll see on the website. But as I mentioned, it's also true for any cover that you already have. So if you're like, hey, I got this cover that was so perfect almost 3 years ago when I finished the book, but I need her hair to be black now, whatever, then send that over. We can fix it. $50, we can do whatever, for the most part, within reason, modification you need. So thanks, Sasha. Book covers are a big headache. Here's the deal with book covers, just to say it as succinctly as possible. People do judge book by their cover. We all do. That's how we make part of our purchasing process. And so I like to say, the only thing a book cover will do, it's instantaneous. And I like to say that the only thing a book cover is going to do is potentially lose the sale for you.
Yes.
No one's going to buy the book because of the cover. I mean, unless your name is Stephen King, but then they're buying it because your name's Stephen King, not because of the cover. No one's going to go, that's such a beautiful cover, I'm going to buy it. I don't even care what it's about. All they're doing is using that cover to go, this, I think, matches the expectation of what I want to read next. Let me click through, read the description, check out the price, all that other part of the book package. The only thing the book cover can do is potentially lose the sale. So it is a big headache because we have to get that part right. And we have 140,000 covers, and I'll help you find the perfect one. So go check it out and see. I mean, we've got some very affordable. I think the cheapest ones on there are $35.
As an avid reader, the book cover makes all the difference. Mm-hmm. Second to that is your book description. So put the time, the effort, even the money into book covers and book descriptions. It is worth it.
Yes. Thank you.
100%. Going to bring up the next question here. 4963 Andy Pop says, I'm having trouble getting my paperback cover to show up on the various online sites, such as Amazon. My ebook looks fine. What are possible reasons that might cause this? D2D is working on this now. That's a good question.
It is unlikely that it's anything that you've done, anything wrong with your cover. It is more likely that it's just the metadata not getting to the right team member over at Amazon. So if you've got Draft2Digital working on this, that's your best bet. We work like a dog with a bone. We don't give up. We keep asking, but it can take a while sometimes to get mistakes corrected. The way Amazon has described it to me is they tend to batch updates. And so even though they received the cover, if it didn't get ingested properly the first time, it may take them a week before they get around to replacing that cover, or 2 weeks or whatever. So I often have to ask multiple times, but I will stay on them until I get that cover updated. So if you've got us working on it, we'll get it fixed for you. It's nothing you did. There's nothing wrong with the cover. One way you could know for sure is go to your other sites like Barnes & Noble and look at your print book. If the cover's there, we sent the cover, we gave it to them. At least some of the vendors got it. And it's just an Amazon delay. So we'll work to get that fixed for you.
Cool. Thanks, Tara. Another question from Alyssa Livingstone. Alyssa asks or says, thank you for this help. You're very welcome. Thank you for being here. She says, my keywords don't seem to be working to bring up my book for people searching. Any advice? Maybe, Nick, maybe this is a good one for you.
No, thank you. Yeah, definitely. I'm nodding my head like, yeah, here's the deal. If keywords worked, everyone, I don't know how to say this the right way. Keywords don't really do anything. It's not that they don't do anything. I mean, they're doing something, but you're dealing with something like 100,000 books published every quarter second or some, it's just a huge number, right? There's just a lot of stuff out there, and keywords are just one flag for all these algorithms. So let's use Amazon as an example. It's a search engine. It's an algorithmic based search engine that's now using large language models and neural nets and all that. So it's using a bunch of variables to show the search engine result page, which is you type something in the box and then whatever shows up next is that page. Keywords are just one of many flags for that algorithm to use. And so if you're putting a word in like sweet cat loving mystery romance, well, there's probably 1.3 quadrillion books that have that as a descriptor, right? Or that the algorithm might think is a descriptor. And so it needs to use other flags, like how many books has it been selling? Is it super popular? How well is it rated? What's the price? I mean, all these things go into showing where it shows up on the page. So my point is, you're probably right that your keywords don't seem to be working. Unfortunately, there's really nothing anyone can do about that. I think the answer is to make sure your keywords are good enough, and then focus on other marketing activities, focusing on doing advertisements or book, reader swaps or newsletter swaps, I should say. Promos, like Megan puts together a bunch of promos for our Draft2Digital authors. These are the kind of things that actually will move the needle for you. What's really weird is as your book starts to sell more, those keywords will start to work better, because like I said, it becomes part of the whole algorithmic black box that is bookstores online these days.
You are so right.
Yeah.
And I just want to add one thing. I see authors come up with hundreds of keywords. The most any one vendor, we submit to 17, 20 different vendors. The most any one of them will take is 7. So don't waste your time entering 100 keywords. We take the first 7 you typed and that's it. So you would have no way of knowing that. I know that because I'm on the back end. The most they will take is 7. So make sure that, you've come up with the absolute best 7 that describes your book, that really, really brings in eyes. And then don't stress the rest of it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Let it be.
Great answers. Thanks for the segue there, Nick, about promos, because I wanted to talk about promos for a second, because, for all of us who go to conferences, we're always asked, does Draft2Digital do anything on the marketing side? Are you guys only a distributor? And we do things on the back end to help you promote your books. We have a team. You mentioned Megan Span out there. We have a full-time employee who's dedicated. Her full-time job is dedicated to helping our authors get more visibility in front of the merchandising managers at our retail partners and library platforms, globally. The merchandising managers, they're the ones who are setting up the front of store displays in brick and mortar bookstores. They're the ones who are choosing what promotions banners to go on the front page of their websites and that sort of thing. The same thing holds true for library apps like Libby. Whenever you see those promotions, when you open up your app, those are done by merchandising managers. So I wanted to give a quick update, because so far this year, there have been 30 publicized promotions from our global retail and library platform partners out there who have, come to us and said, hey, we're doing a promotion on this genre or on this theme or for this holiday. And so what Megan does is she gets all of these and she communicates that to our authors via the Draft2Digital promotions form. And I'll put a link up to it right now. So for any current Draft2Digital author, go to this form and fill it out, because whenever one of these promotions opportunity comes up, and if it pertains to your particular genre, you will hear from Megan about it, and you will have the opportunity to submit your title or maybe multiple titles for any particular promotion. And it works. So far this year, Megan's received 15,946 title submissions from Draft2Digital authors. And of that 15,946 title submissions, she was able to successfully place 9,034 books.
Wow.
That's like almost 60% return rate.
That's 60%. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. But those are only the publicized promotions. That doesn't include all of the one-off requests that she's getting from librarians, direct requests from Apple and Kobo and Overdrive and the others who are coming to Megan because Draft2Digital is a known, trusted resource for these merchandising managers. And they'll come to Megan and they'll say, hey, can you help us maybe with a couple more authors or with a couple more titles on this particular promotion or that particular promotion that we haven't publicized, but that we're doing, kind of in the background. And that happens all the time. And those figures that I shared, those also don't include everything that Megan's doing in the background for the Smashwords store. So since Draft2Digital owns and operates the Smashwords store, we can do whatever we want. We can do whatever we want on that front page. You know, she can come up with any kind of a featured promotional shelf to sit right there on the front page. And if you sign up for that promotions form, we want you to tell us proactively what you have coming up. So if it's a major new release, let's say that you've got a series book coming out soon for one of your series that's performing really well, and maybe you've got that book up on pre-order and it's accumulating orders, like stuff like that, tell us. And Megan says, you know, err on the side of giving us too much detail versus too little detail, because the more information she's got, the easier it is for her to convince merchandising managers at the retailers that, hey, maybe you want to pay a little bit more to this title that's coming out pretty soon. So I can't stress enough about that promotions form. It's free, you guys. Like, you're not going to have to pay any advertising budget out of this promotions form. We're just doing it in the back end to help out our authors.
And I used to do a lot of that promotional work prior to Megan, and I know for sure it's not based on sales. I know that she tries really hard to give equal billing. So don't count yourself out just because you maybe haven't had a sale in a while. This is the perfect time to get onto the promo form, because she really wants to advertise new content. She really wants to promote those unseen gems. So don't count yourself out. Definitely get your books on there. She's really interested in new authors and new content to promote. Great
comment. Yeah, she's all about rising up those emerging authors. Okay. Can you all hang out for a little bit longer? I want to see if I get this.
Yeah, let's get through some of these. Yeah.
All right, we're going into overtime here. Debbie asks, I have some author events at Barnes & Noble, but the shop wants to have paperback through another marketing partner. Does D2D work with Barnes & Noble?
Yes, we do. I assume that you're saying paperback. One thing you want to be aware of is that the paperback option through Draft2Digital is non-returnable. Not many authors know this, but how a book works in print is a site like, let's say, Barnes & Noble might buy 50 copies. And then for the next year, they've got those books out there and available to purchase, and maybe only 10 copies sell. What happens to those other 40 is they send those back and they ask for a refund, and you get the bill. The author gets the bill in the mail. Now, that creates a huge financial liability for authors who are not expecting to suddenly get a bill for all of their returned books. Of course, we hope that every book sells, but we've got to be realistic. So right now, our books are not refundable, non-returnable, because we don't want you to suddenly get hit with a bill that you were not expecting and did not even know about. You may not even be aware that Barnes & Noble bought 50 copies and now you're stuck having to pay for 40 of them. What you can always do, though, is buy your books, author copies, through Draft2Digital, take them over to Barnes & Noble and ask them to set up a table, help you sell them, whatever. And then, any book that doesn't sell, you own, you could take to your marketing events, your book signing. You've got a purpose for those, and you're not stuck with some huge bill at the end of the year.
Yeah, the way it works here in Colorado Springs, we have 2 Barnes & Noble, and it all comes down to the manager. There's one manager at one Barnes & Noble who does not work with indie authors because they're a big old jerk. I'm just kidding. They just don't like it. I don't know. And the other one loves indie authors. And so it's really weird. But for both, for any Barnes & Noble that has a manager who's willing to work with you, they want to make sure that your book is available in the catalog they use, which is Baker and Taylor, I think is right. And so that's what Tara's talking about, having it available there, whether it's returnable, all that stuff. That's what she means.
Yes.
But then whenever we do this, like I work with a bunch of authors here in town that are doing this kind of thing, they'll do exactly what you said. They'll buy author copies so that they can have as many or as few as they want on that table at the front of the store. Barnes & Noble just wants to make sure that they're going to get a cut if somebody buys a book directly from them.
Yes, exactly. Any bookstore, Barnes & Noble included, that works with Ingram can go into the site and purchase copies of your book. Any bookstore can do that. But if you ever encounter one that says, well, yours is non-refundable, say, oh, let me buy author copies and bring them in here for you. And we've had a ton of authors say that works brilliantly.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, you guys. Here's a good question from Sasha. Should one expect to sell any books at all with reasonable book and cover and price without any marketing whatsoever? Thanks. You seem like lovely guys, by the way.
And I'm sure Sasha means just the guys, not you, Tara. She doesn't think you're lovely at all. Just us guys.
Thanks, Sasha.
I'm just kidding. Tara's way more lovely than us.
This isn't a question I can answer. This one's for Jim and Nick.
Yes, I think it is reasonable to expect your book to sell a copy or two. This is an old business, I guess, principle. Chris Anderson wrote a book called The Long Tail, and it was in reference to music and online streaming services. And in a nutshell, if you imagine the Taylor Swifts and the Beyoncés of the world and all those guys way at the top of the curve, and then the curve goes down, like the people selling a lot, I should say, selling a lot of versions or copies or, songs, that curve goes down to here and it kind of flattens out, but it doesn't hit zero. It never gets to zero. So that's just a really kind of, I guess, proof way of saying that maybe your book will sell 1 or 2 copies a year for the rest of your life. It's probably going to sell something. But I think what you're really asking is, can you actually make any money doing this without any marketing whatsoever? And I would say no. But I would say that when you say, we need to define the word marketing, right? And I don't want to get too far into it. I'm going to let Jim answer because he's our marketing guy here at Draft2Digital. Me as an author personally, when I talked about writing and responding to emails that readers send me, that's marketing. That's an activity that I do that is trying to build my brand presence in the eyes of the consumer, the reader. That's just the business way of saying marketing, right? So yeah, you don't have to do advertising. You don't have to do, have this elaborate website with the Shopify store and all that stuff. You can probably do really well doing local events and really building your brand slowly over a long period of time and finding readers one by one. That's all marketing. And you can actually make a living doing that. But I'm going to stop because I love talking about marketing, and we could do a whole hour just on marketing. So Jim, what do you have to say about all that stuff? Am I kind of off base with any of that?
No, I think you're spot on. But I would also add, Sasha, going back to my early days at Smashwords, now I just crossed my 14-year anniversary here in the indie publishing space. I want to underscore what separates the amateurs from the pros comes down to best practices. Like, there are so many books out there that I think authors, especially newer authors, kind of rush into market. So best practices includes professional editing, professional cover design, making sure that you're offering your books out there for a reasonable price. Like, all of these things that seem like no-brainers to some people aren't no-brainers to everyone. So, for example, when you do your book cover image, get the draft of your cover image and put it on a screen at Amazon or at Barnes & Noble or at Apple to see how the thumbnail size of your book's cover image compares to the best-selling cover images in the books in your genre, and just make sure that it's on par with those books. You want to give that professional look and that professional quality that readers expect. And if you can do that, I think even with a minimum amount of marketing, your books will start to kind of trickle up. But to Nick's point, with that long tail, as you kind of click over, and up that scale, it all, seriously, what I've seen over the years is that it comes down to best practices. So in other words, save your pennies. Once you start earning money from your book sales, then you can take some of that profit and put it into some of those larger ticket marketing tasks like advertising and so on.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks, Jim. Write a lot of books. Don't forget that. I mean, I didn't mention that at all. My best-selling book right now, I think it made $80. It's the first year, the first 12 months it was out, and it was the third book that I had. And so now it's chugging along because I've got 50 of these things out there.
Yep. Another quick question from Dennis. Dennis asks, who approves books on D2D? Is it AI or is it a human?
Well, it's Tara, but she's an AI.
There's no AI. That is a common misconception. We get that a lot in customer support. We're all human beings. We're all real people. every last one of us. We don't use AI. We're not doing anything with AI. It's humans. It's a human review. We have a very, very smart system that only shows us what we need to see. If your book is awesome and perfect, it flies right through. But if your book needs a little extra help, a human being will be the one looking at it, not an AI.
Thanks for that, Tara. Okay. I'm going to maybe pop up just a couple more questions because I have to actually run out soon. So from Prince Tripathi, who asks, what is the problem on Hoopla book publishing? Because my books are pending for 3 months and have not been published yet. They have been published on all other channels. So what is their problem? Is there something going on over at Hoopla? Does anybody know?
You'll notice when you go to list your book that we have actually popped up a warning saying long processing times. When we started with Hoopla, we told them we have millions of books to offer. And they were like, this is fantastic. That's what we want. And then when we turned on ingestion, they said, holy moly, there's 1 million books in here. And we said, yes. And they said, we thought you were exaggerating. And we said, no. So long processing times, there is a lot of human review on the Hoopla system. I apologize for those delays. I know that they are working diligently to staff up and expand and do some different things to try and speed up that processing time. And it's working because she said 3 months. Not long ago, it was 6 months. So it is working. They are getting faster. I do apologize. That's why we kind of have that warning on there, just so it doesn't surprise you. But yeah, we just gave them so much at a time that they are working through it all.
Yeah, thanks for that, Tara. It's always surprises our new
vendors.
Yeah, because we tell them ahead of time that there's going to be a lot of books coming at you, and they're like, "Yeah, we can handle it. We've got a great infrastructure." And every single time, they're shocked at the quantity. And we're talking about like some of the biggest retailers in the world. They're always like, "What?" Yeah.
Yes,
I get it. Okay, so. We're overtime now, so I want to thank Tara and Nick. You guys, I really appreciate you kind of carving out some time in your day to help us here. So thank you for that. For our viewers out there, if you can do us a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel, comment and share this episode, we really appreciate it. Because in the future, it helps us attract new guests out there who can share their advice and expertise to help you sell more books. If you go to D2Dlive.com and bookmark that page, you'll be able to go back to the page and you will see what our next topic and who our next guest is going to be in subsequent weeks. Although there might not be anybody there today because I'm a little behind in the pipeline. I'm trying to fill it up as fast as I can. And finally, if you are new to self-publishing or if you're investigating self-publishing now, maybe for the very first time, you can go to Draft2Digital.com and sign up for a free account. We would love to help you get your books out into the world. Tara, Nick, thanks again, you guys. Much appreciated. All of our viewers out there, we so appreciate you joining us week in and week out. And again, this week, I've noticed some new names out there. So if you're new to the Draft2Digital community or to the indie community, welcome. We hope to see your books out there into the world, and we would love to help you. Everybody, thanks again. We'll see you here next week. Until then, signing off.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Ebooks are great, but there's just something about having your words in print. Something you can hold in your hands, put on a shelf, sign for a reader. That's why we created D2D Print, a print-on-demand service that was built for you. We have free, beautiful templates to give your book a pro look, and we can even convert your ebook cover into a full wraparound cover for print. So many options for you and your books. And you can get started right now at Draft2Digital.com.